Hello world of YouTube and welcome to the next list in List Week 2019. The best games I played this year. Now, like movies and albums and all the other things on this list, this is just my opinion. These are the games that I played this year that I think are the best. And like last year, I got to play a lot more games. That's why I'm making a top 11, you know? I'm not just ranking the games that I played this year, unlike what would have been last year. I actually had a hard time putting this list together, too, because I played a lot of good shit this year, and there's still shit that I didn't get to play, both on an independent and a big scale, like I heard of this game, Outer Wilds. That was really good. I didn't get to play Outer Worlds. I didn't get to play Devil May Cry 5. There's a lot of games that came out this year that I still missed. But out of the games I played, these were the 11 best. Now, like the films list, I'm not going to be making a worst games list, but by far the worst game I played that came out this year was Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm sure there's an audience for that game. I'm just not in it. I used to really love this series. I thought the story was interesting, and it had a lot of nice dynamics going on in it, but this felt like the antithesis of what a project like Endgame was. You know, a film like Endgame was a culmination of 10 years of filmmaking made into a really touching finale, and this didn't do that for Kingdom Hearts. Out of all of the things that could have been for a game with this type of build-up, Kingdom Hearts 3 just did not live up to any of the expectations that I had. But with that out of the way, let's get into my list.
Back on the original Game Boy, there was a puzzle game I played a lot called Crypt. It was a fun little box-pushing puzzle game, and it was one of the first puzzle games I ever played that wasn't Tetris. And Baba Is You invoked a lot of the same feelings I had when I first played Quick, only it was enhanced because of how meta this game is. You really think outside of the box of your average puzzle game with Baba Is You as far as changing what anything's properties are, and it creates a lot of interesting circumstances that the game leads you into these type of mindset very, very well. This is a fun indie game that I honestly didn't realize came out this year until I was going over the games I played this year and immediately knew I had to put it on here. This game was very, very fun, and I recently got a Nintendo Switch, and you bet your ass I bought myself a copy because this is a very charmingly animated, fun-ass indie puzzle game. If you like quirky puzzle games, you're sleeping on this one if you don't check this one out. One of the best of the year, for sure. Do you guys remember back on my top 11 games that need sequels list that I made earlier this year where I talked about how I'd like to see a stealth roguelike game? I didn't realize that that game already existed in the form of ToeJam and Earl Back in the Groove. This game is so much fun. I love the amount of variables that are thrown at you, from the NPCs that are on each floor to what each present can do to what presents are broken and enhanced on each floor. This game has so much random in it that creates such a chaotic experience, and I love that it has both online and couch co-op. I'm glad that couch co-op is making a comeback, and this game is such a great one to dive into with friends. I like that each character has their own base stats. I love the RPG elements that are in here, and I like how simple it is to pick up and play. This game is so much fun, and it oozes with charm. I love the aesthetic. I love the look. I love the soundtrack, which my girlfriend recently bought me on vinyl as a gift. Thank you so much for that, Rachel. And before you ask, no, I didn't put this on here because they follow me on Twitter. That's just a very strange coincidence. Much love to those guys, though. They run a really dope Twitter account. Last year, I got to sample Crypt of the Necrodancer, and I fell in love. It is such a unique rhythm game that, again, has great couch co-op. And when they announced that they would be doing a Zelda-themed game, you bet your ass I was so on board with it. I love that it still had couch co-op, and I love how well it integrated the Zelda music into this gameplay style. This game is dope as fuck. It is really fun to play. I'm glad that they included a more open world aspect to it to make it feel more like a Zelda game. It is a melding that works so very well Like, the way that they made it more loose with the rhythm until you're in combat felt really great. I think the only reason why this game wasn't higher on my list is because I didn't get to sample it all that much this year. But I'm telling you, what sample I got of it told me it was an amazing game and one that I will be picking up now that I own a Switch of my very own. Honestly, when I was starting to make my list, I figured Apex Legends might have ended up on the low end of this list. I thought that it was a tight, controlling, well-executed shooter that felt like a better use of the Battle Royale genre than the king of the time, Fortnite. However, I was not expecting Nintendo to create the goofiest Battle Royale game ever in the form of Tetris 99. I love that Nintendo just did this. They were like, you know what? Let's get weird. And you guys know, probably by now, I love weird games. And one of the very first game I downloaded when I got my Switch was Tetris 99. Because if you caught my stream, you know, I like me some Tetris. And man, was this such a great bonding experience to have when I was playing it at the time. And I think that the idea of this game is so awesome. It makes you better at Tetris. It keeps you on your toes. And I like that they're adding shit like an elite mode and a team mode. They're adding features to this game that just give it such quality of life. This game is so fucking good. And again, so bizarre, but I'm glad that it works as well as it does. This is actually kind of a last-minute entry because recently my buddy Tyler has been playing this game so much and been giving it such high praise. But I gotta tell you, I am so happy I sank my teeth into and have started to really love Slay the Spire. This game combines two types of games that I love so harmoniously, it's insane. Talking about roguelikes and card games. I'll make a list about it next year, but I gotta tell you right now, I love a good card game with not necessarily a lot of depth, but a lot of nuance. And Slay the Spire is chock full of nuance. I love that each character has their own specific types of cards that give you so many different types of builds. My favorite, personally, right now is the Whisper guy. I love that she has different types of stabby attacks that can build to one big swing. I love that I have yet to recreate the first initial build I had with this character and have instead been experimenting with different types of builds. I love the level of depth that goes into how on the fly you need to be with building a deck. I love the deck building aspect of it. A lot of my favorite card games in real life are deck builders, and this is just such a good game. It feels like a game that checks so many different niches for me, and it has been the game that has had the terms just one more run roll out of my mouth more oftentimes than I'd like to count. This game is so fucking good, and if you've slept on it, you're sleeping on a true gem. Another type of game you guys probably know that I love, it's a good Metroidvania. Been playing a lot of Hollow Knight on streams earlier this year, and I really love Blasphemous. This game is so very graphic. It's almost gratuitously graphic, but I love the look of this game. I love the aesthetic of it. I love how tragic it is. One of the albums I reviewed earlier this year, or really kind of late this year, was Lingua Ignata's Caligula, and that album is the same kind of tone that's set for this game. Everybody's sad, everybody's miserable, but there is a tightly controlled, well-executed Souls-like game in this dreadfully drenched in macabre package. It is so very good. I love a lot of the power-ups. I love the nuance in the combat. I think the platforming is incredibly tight, almost more tight than a game like Hollow Knight. This game is so pixel-pointed perfect that it is so sharp and jagged and punishing. It, again, is a game that once I sank my teeth into and really got a handle on, it would not let go. It is so much fun. And it's a game that I'm still loving to comb through, whether it's collecting the bonus power-ups or following every single little thread to its end. This game is worth your time if you love Souls-likes. If you can get past how bleak and tragic the whole game feels, you'll really enjoy this game. This game is a masterclass in a great Metroidvania and a great Souls-like game. Now, some people may ask me, may wonder, Johnny, why do you put out your year-end list in January? Everyone else is doing theirs in December. Shouldn't you, do them then? Wouldn't that be when people are thinking about them? And you're probably right. But the biggest reason why I put out my lists in the beginning of January is because of games like Shovel Knight King of Cards. This is so fucking fun. It's funny. It's well written. The platforming is as tight as any other Shovel Knight game. And on top of that, they added a bitchin' card game into the Shovel Knight universe. Remember what I said 2 parts ago about loving a good card game? Yeah, Joustus, another really good card game that requires a huge level of strategy to really be good at. And I love that it's completely optional. It is only there for you to sink your teeth into if you really want to. And that is just the icing on what is a tight, well-executed platformer, just like everything of its ilk. It is a great swan song for the Shovel Knight series as done by Yacht Club Games exclusively, and I couldn't be happier to see it get this kind of send-off. Such a phenomenal game. Remember when I dropped my top 11 Mario games list last year and put Mario Maker 1 on it and said that they should put Mario Maker on the Switch so that the budding community of game designers could make stages that are fun for gamers to play and get better at platformers with? Little did I know that a year later, not only would Nintendo do that, they would make it a sequel full of so many great quality of life improvements that it makes my Mario list now null and void. Super Mario Maker 2 is the essential Mario Maker game at this point. It has so many new tools, so much new shit to test gamers, to make it both better game designers and game players. I love the addition of objectives. I love the addition of slopes. I love the addition of other types of Mario games in the mix. This is just a better Mario Maker game on all fronts. This is an amazing game that, again, has still such a budding community that is growing only more because the Switch is actually a very successful Nintendo console. This game is amazing. If you haven't played it, you really owe it to yourself to do so. There's a lot of great levels out there. There's a lot of great ideas that you can make of your own, and you could really just have endless fun with this. Nintendo actually made another amazing Mario Maker game, and I'm so happy that it exists. This is such an amazing game and an amazing tool to teach people to be better at their craft, and I love it for that. Never in my years of being a personality on the internet have I had so many people wanting my opinion on one singular game, but I understand why. I've kind of pegged myself as the Castlevania guy. I don't shut the fuck up about Castlevania because I love it so very much. And I can say with all of my heart that Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is absolutely a smash success. This game has so much cool shit in it. I love the castle. I love exploring it much more than castles in some of the weaker Igavania games. I love the power-ups that you get. I love the level of progression that happens throughout the castle. It feels like an Igavania on steroids. There's so much side shit to do that I have combed the game trying to complete it all. I love all of the bonuses that you can find. This game has so much cool shit in it, but it never feels tiring to explore. And I feel like that's a feat to a good Igavania game. It has a lot of the same walls that you reach in an Igavania game, but once you wrap your head around the game's language, you can figure it out. This game is so fucking good. And as much as I loved Curse of the Moon, I am so glad that Ritual of the Night is just as great of a game. It is so much fun. And as a fan, as a huge fan of Castlevania games, I'm glad this didn't turn into the mighty number 9 of the Castlevania franchise. Congratulations, Iga. You've done it again. This year seemed to be a point where a lot of projects that have been in development for a long time finally came out. Terry Gilliam finally released The Man Who Killed Don Quixote. Gemini Man finally came out. Tool dropped Fear Inoculum after years of hype. And Kingdom Hearts 3 actually finally fucking came out. But so did the Resident Evil 2 remake. And I'm glad that out of all of those projects, it was the one that was actually amazing. The Resident Evil 2 remake is so fucking great From its breathtaking visuals to the way that it flips the original game on its head in certain ways, to how fresh the game just feels. Even though it's a story that I'm very familiar with, I love how fresh it felt to sink my teeth into it from this way. You know, I love the way the game controls. I love that they added the aiming from Resident Evil 7 into this to make the Resident Evil 4 gameplay style feel scary. I love that everything takes a lot of bullets to kill. This game just felt like a scary Resident Evil game. And after 7 planted the seeds for scary Resident Evil again, I'm glad that this is actually a classic Resident Evil game in every sense of the word. I love that they kept all of the unlockables. There's just so much shit in this game that makes it one of the best of the year. It is so very fun, and I'm glad that it kicks this much ass. Even though I seemingly played a lot more games this year in a year's time than I have in years past, I could not tell you the level of joy I felt when I accomplished something in Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. This game exceeds where great Souls games exceed. I love that the combat feels like a melding of Bloodborne and Dark Souls. I love the platforming aspects that they added to this game. I love the stealth element. Makes it feel like a Tenchu game, and I really love the Tenchu games. I love that it's a little more narrative-driven, so it gives your skill set a little more weight to it. This is a great place to take the Souls-like games. I don't want all Souls-like games to be like Sekiro, but I'm glad a game like Sekiro exists. I love the atmosphere. I love the aesthetic. I'm a huge fan of the Japanese aesthetic, and I love the kind of mythological places it takes it that still feel very tied to its Japanese roots. This game is so much fun. And again, out of any game I played this year, I never got more joy and excitement than I did in Sekiro anytime I took down any of the bosses I fought. This game is so much fun. And I know I'm nowhere near beating it, but I do own it, and I am trying to make my way through it at my own pace. But man, am I so satisfied with the journey I've taken thus far. And I feel so confident in saying that it is, without a doubt, my favorite game I've played in 2019.
And that was it. What did you think about it? What are some of your favorite games that came out this year? Was there a game that I didn't play that I missed sorely? Let me know in those comments down below. I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you so very much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like. If you want to see more of my music, gaming, and general nerdery content, be sure to subscribe. Special thanks to my patrons. If you would like to join their ranks, linked in the description is my Patreon. I've been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, lots of situations, and I'll see you another day.